folks. Today I'm going to be showing you a game called Last Word. This game came out in 1985 from Milton Bradley, and it is for 2 to 4 players. Now, if you've ever played Boggle, you're going to recognize the gameplay of Last Word. The object of the game, as in most word games, is you're going to be trying to score the most amount of points by spelling words on a grid. And there's a little bit of a strategy element to this game because you are going to try to make sure that you do not end up stranded on the board. If you end up stranded on the board to where you can't spell any more words, you're going to be out of the game. And also, you can actually force your opponent out as well. So there's a couple of things that you have to watch out for while you're spelling words. But hey, let's go ahead and show you how this game works. Okay, everybody, let me just go ahead and show you the components to this game really quick. Of course, right here you have your big game board, and this is a big grid here. And then you have all of your letters, and you're just going to basically place these letters randomly on the board. These are wild spaces, and I'll explain how these work here in a minute. You're not going to put any tiles on that section. Now there's 4 sides over here, and there's 4 pawns that go with each side. Your pawn is going to be color coded with the dot over here, so red will play from this side. These here are just little compartments that will fit 5 tiles in each, so whenever you take tiles off of the board, which is what you're going to do, you can go ahead and store them in here. Now, the pawn here has a couple of uses. You're going to use this to move around the board and try to take letters off and score them. And also, you can use it to pick letters up off of the grid and just take it off like so. Now, the object of the game is you're going to be trying to score as many points as you can. And the way you're going to be doing that is by spelling words and taking those tiles off of the board. So, for example, here's a word, S-E-T-S. If I were to score that, I would take all of these tiles off and put them in here, and then I would go ahead and score 4 points. And then my pawn would be left on the last space where I took off the last letter. Now, when someone begins the game, you're going to basically start on the first row of your section, so red will start over here. And the way you can spell words is you're going to just simply pick one of these letters, and then you can take any adjacent tile off of where that letter is, and so on. So, for example, you could do this. You could say S-C-A-M, and you can go in any direction. You can go diagonal, forward, backward, etc. Similar to Boggle. And then what you're going to do is you're going to leave your pawn on the last space where you took your last letter. Now, these wild spaces over here can represent any letter that you wish. So, for example, you could do scam with this. And you can actually double back and use this again with a different letter. So, for example, if you had scam and say you had another M over here, you could do scammer. If this was an M, then you can change this into an E. And if there was an R somewhere, you could use that. Now, another way you can score words is doing what is called a wraparound. A wraparound basically means you can go from one side of the board to the other. And there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can do this across, you can do this down, and you can do this from corners. Let's say I was over here. Let's say my tile was over here. I can go P, and then go over here and wrap around, then do I, and then do E. The way it works is you will be able to go directly across and take a tile from there, or you can take any of the tiles that are directly adjacent to the tile right here. So, for example, I can zip from here to here. Or if I want, I can go from here to here or from here to here. So I could do pi, P-I-E, and take those tiles. Now I can also do what's called a double wraparound, is I can go from here and then go back to this side. So for example, I can go P, and then I can go, so I can go P, then I can go I on this side, and then I can wrap back around and take this E, and then go up to the R and take that as well. So that would be P-I-E-R. So you can do wraparounds like that. Now, when it comes to the corners, you will be able to do a wraparound on the tile that is directly adjacent to it on this side or directly in line with it from here. So, for example, if I wanted to do the word met, I could go M and then go to the E here and then go to the T. Now, I can't go from here to here. I can only go from this corner to this corner or from this corner to this corner. Now, what you're trying to do is as some of these tiles are getting removed from the board, there are going to be empty spaces in here that are going to look like this. And the more tiles that are taken up, the more of these empty spaces there are going to be. The one thing you do not want to do is you do not want to be left what is called isolated. Let's say my pawn was over here and I was hoping that I would be able to take out the A over here, but in a subsequent play somebody used this A to spell a word and they would then remove this right over here. So what this would do is this would leave your pawn isolated. When that happens, you are going to be out of the game. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to make sure that you are not going to be in a situation where you're going to be left stranded like this. Now, another way that you can get kicked out of the game is if somebody blocks you. Now, another way that somebody can get you out of the game is if they block you. Let's say you're in this situation over here and you have a wild square over here that you can use to try to spell your next word. But what ends up happening is, let's say yellow goes and he ends up spelling W-E-E, we. So he will take these two out and then he will block the wild square. And since he has blocked the wild square, he has now taken away your path to get to any of the letters, so this is going to count as a block. Not only is this going to kick you out of the game, but whoever ends up blocking you is going to get an additional 5 points for the block. And again, you are going to be out of the game. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of gameplay. Let's say it is Red's turn, and Red's going to go ahead and go first. First thing he sees is he sees the word camel right here. So he's going to go ahead and take off the C, these words, and he'll put these tiles into this section. That will end his turn, and he'll put his pawn right here for his next turn. Now it goes to green. So green takes a look around and he sees the word hope, and this is going to allow him to go across. So let's just say he goes H, go ahead and take the D2 since hoped is a word. So he will go ahead and score these tiles, so he now has 6 points. So let's do a couple more. Let's say blue gets to go and he sees the word fries. So he'll call out the word fries and he goes, and that will end his turn. So now yellow will go. Now you're starting to see that some of these spaces are becoming empty. So yellow decides to go, and he's going to go ahead and spell the word, he'll spell the word quip. So he'll say, I got a QU here, and then an I right here, QI, and then P. So he'll do quip, and he will end up over here. And so now red's going to go ahead and go, and basically the game is going to continue going on like this. And as you can see, there are already some empty spaces being created. So part of what the strategy is, you're going to try to want to get into an area where there are a lot of letters and try to stay away from these empty spaces. And the winner of the game is going to be the one that ends up scoring the most points. Each of these tiles are worth 1 point, and they're going to score all the tiles that they've got, plus any pieces that they have managed to isolate. And the person who has the most amount of points is going to win the game. So my thoughts on Last Word. Well, if you are a fan of the Boggle game series, this is definitely a game I would recommend picking up. This game is a fun game, and it's not too hard to teach people. You just have to figure out how to do the wraparounds and things of that nature, because there's a lot of different types of moves that you can make in this game. As far as ratings go, out of 10, I'd probably give this game about a 5.5. This is a really good word game, and I like the fact that there's a strategic element to this game as well, because not only are you going to be trying to find words to spell, you also have to keep your eye out on your opponent. You have to try to make sure that you have another word in front of you that you can spell on your next turn, because if you don't and you end up stranded, you're going to be out of the game. So this game's got some strategy to it, and I like that. But I definitely would recommend this game for anybody who likes word games, and especially for anybody who likes the game Boggle. Anyway, guys, that's my review. You all have a great day. We'll see you later.